MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good morning, I'm John Shearer here at Mammoth and Yellowstone National Park, and coming up, we're going to be speaking with business people in Gardner and the park superintendent about priorities to set for spending money to repair infrastructure damaged by last June's flooding.
10 years of memories gone in a matter of minutes. I'm Jane McDonald in Bozeman, and we talk with the mother of two as she describes the moment she woke up to her house in flames.
6:31 on this Wednesday. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. Winter is here and is not going away, at least for the next several days.
Yeah, just kind of changing forms a little bit. We do have some slick roads this morning from some snow yesterday. Please leave some extra time today. Plan ahead this week. It's complicated.
Yeah, for sure. It's January.
It's like a lot of family status. It's complicated.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It is complicated.
Dating status anyway. Temperatures this morning into the 20s for most of the area this morning. 15 in Butte. Does look like we see some light snow today. That's not going to complicate the drive dramatically, but as you get into the next couple of days, this shift is going to be pretty, not pretty subtle. It's going to be very abrupt. Scattered snow showers possible by the evening in the Bozeman area. A few snowflakes possible for areas in southwest Montana. But the real show begins tomorrow. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:32 now. We first told you in December that Montana's U.S. Senator Jon Tester says nearly $1 billion is allocated in the current federal budget for infrastructure repairs at Yellowstone National Park. Now, MTN's John Shear is live in Mammoth this morning following up on that story. He reports that the big issue now is how to set the priorities. John?
Well, good morning from Mammoth, Chet. About 10 degrees here this morning. You know, a lot of the decisions, or at least some of the big parts of the decisions about the infrastructure needing repaired were made by Mother Nature. Last June, flooding wiped out the road through the canyon that connects Mammoth here with Gardner down below. Now, a new emergency road was put in. You can see the start of that road right back here. There goes a car heading down toward Mammoth, and another one coming up here toward, heading down toward Gardner, and another one coming up here toward Mammoth. You can see over my other shoulder just some of the few lights up here. Now, there are the other infrastructure needs and all, and a big discussion about what the priority list should look like.
This was a wake-up call in relationship to some of the critical infrastructure and deferred maintenance issues we have in this park.
Yellowstone Superintendent Cam Shawley is passionate about improving the park both for visitors and employees.
Protecting this park is our top priority. You can't host visitation without proper infrastructure in the park.
U.S. Senator Jon Tester, who sits on the powerful Senate Appropriations Committee, says he fought for the infrastructure funding, telling us Yellowstone National Park is one of Montana's national treasures and one that small businesses and families in our gateway communities depend on. Tester says the top priority is replacing the washed-out roads. After that, park employee housing and repair of damage to campgrounds and cabins damaged by flood waters. Many business people I spoke with in Gardner say number one is repairing wastewater facilities so the Mammoth Hotel may reopen.
Top priority after that would be having the permanent road into the park rebuilt.
A pullout where we can get off of the road safely, we can all get out of the vehicle and experience the park when we're not in danger of a vehicle collision.
Some of your basic needs, I think, is what we can invest in to make travel a little bit easier and more convenient for all the visitors to the park.
We want to support whatever the Park Service feels is best for transportation into and out of the park, infrastructure needs. You know, as this park is getting to evolve and grow and visitation has grown, we need to make sure we're supporting them in what we need to provide that experience for the visitor to have a good time when they're here.
While emergency construction last summer built a new road connecting Mammoth and Gardner, this road is a temporary solution. Building a new, permanent road is at the top of a lot of lists, but that will take time, perhaps years to plan and complete.
There's no really good option. I mean, there's no option that's like, hey, this is perfect. So there's going to be some trade-offs, and I feel confident that this process we're going to go through, we're going to expedite it as quickly as we can, will give us the best available alternative.
Now, Al-Sholeh told me that something that is not quite as widely known is that the wastewater treatment systems at Canyon and at Old Faithful were also damaged by flooding and very nearly were lost. He says those systems are back online, but that they will probably need upgrading and repair as part of the ongoing infrastructure needs in the park. Chet?
MTN's John Shear live this morning in Mammoth. Stories we're going to continue to follow. Thank you, John. In other headlines this morning, on Sunday, we reported a fire that destroyed one home and covered wagon trailer park off Oak and 19th in Bozeman. MTN's Jane McDonald went back yesterday to speak to the owner, who told us how her son saved her family.
My son came bursting through my door and was like, "The house is full of smoke, Mom."
It was that wake up that saved the family from the smoke and flames quickly consuming the Kirkland home.
It's one of the scariest things you will ever have to encounter. I'm thankful my daughter decided to sleep in the living room that night instead of her bedroom, because she probably wouldn't be here with us today if she had been in her room.
It was early Sunday morning, just after 5 o'clock.
I watched the whole side of Addie's room just completely burst into flames and start spreading through the living room. We came running out of the house, down the sidewalk.
And Jessica said it took nearly no time for help to arrive.
And right as I turned this way, I saw the Bozeman PD officer flying down here.
According to the Highlight Fire Department, there is no official cause of the blaze. And according to Jessica,
they're pretty sure that it was the outlet in my daughter's room. That's where all the flames were coming out of when I opened up the door.
And the thoughts that go through Jessica's mind now, looking at her home.
Why me? But just the fact that everybody made it out safe. And that we can, in the end, rebuild and put something back up. But the memories that are lost when this happens is probably one of the hardest things to deal with.
The house where those precious memories were made is now lined in fire line, but you can still see some of the memories remaining.
Even if something does burn down or whatnot, there always is something that will come out.
There's already talk of a benefit concert, donation jars around town. And if you'd like to learn more about how you can help, you can go to our website. In Bozeman, Jane McDonald, MTN News.
All right, thank you very much, Jane. In other news, black adults twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's disease as white adults, but they make up fewer than 10% of clinical trial participants. Scripps News health correspondent Lindsay Thies looked at the new Alzheimer's drug Leqembi, or lecanemab, and the push to get more black patients to sign up to see how well it works.
Carol Turner arrives to a clinic at Eastern Virginia Medical School. She gets an IV that may contain the Alzheimer's drug lecanemab. The FDA gave accelerated approval to the treatment earlier this month for patients with mild cognitive problems or mild dementia. But Turner hasn't been diagnosed. She has no symptoms.
The population that we are right now targeting are much earlier, probably 20 years before they develop any symptoms.
Turner is in one of the next big clinical trials for lecanemab. It's called the AHEAD study. More than 70 research teams across the country are trying to recruit 1,400 participants ages 55 to 80 with preclinical or early preclinical Alzheimer's. That's when someone does not show outward signs of the disease, but brain scans can show deposits of amyloid beta, a hallmark of Alzheimer's.
Maybe we need to move a little bit earlier to be able to bend the curve even much stronger than before.
About 1 in 8 people over age 65 have Alzheimer's. That includes Carol Turner's mom. She and her brother signed up for the trial because their father died from the disease.
It was something that we never thought we would hear, because there's nothing out here. Definitely not for our age. There's nothing out here. So we figured that would just be awesome. and as soon as it launched, we jumped on board.
Turner was the first Black participant to volunteer. She hopes many more Black individuals with family histories sign up too. Older Black Americans are twice as likely as older white Americans to have Alzheimer's or another dementia, and research has not been able to answer why. On top of that, there is a chronic, uneven number of Black Americans in clinical trials overall, including for new medicines. A Bloomberg News analysis showed only 2% of patients included in trials reported in the past decade were Black. In the previous Phase 3 lecanemab trial, the number of Black participants were dramatically lower than white participants. What all of that means, when drug makers are developing an Alzheimer's treatment, they're missing a full picture of how well that med works.
We really need to have participation from different walk of lives and also different races and ethnicities.
The AHEAD study will last for about 4 years, with results expected in 2028.